So, humanoid robots are officially here. They can walk, they can talk, they're learning new things every single day. But as they start stepping out of the lab and into our workplaces and homes, they're bringing a massive blind spot with them. A missing feature so critical, it could have some really dangerous, maybe even tragic consequences.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. The argument is that until a humanoid robot has some kind of sense of what pain is, it just doesn't belong in the one place we're supposed to feel safest, our own homes. It's a pretty bold claim, but when you think about it, maybe it's not so crazy.
I mean, we've all seen the videos, right? Robots doing chores, helping out the elderly. It's really exciting stuff. But all this progress forces us to ask a really tough question. Are these powerful machines, which have absolutely no fundamental understanding of physical harm, truly safe to have around our families?
So what does this sensory blind spot actually mean in the real world? Let's walk through a simple, but honestly, a pretty chilling example.
Okay, picture a robot. Its cameras might see an empty spot on the couch, but it has zero whole-body awareness to know what might be underneath it when it sits down. Could be a pair of glasses, could be the family pet. Without a system to register damaging pressure, it literally cannot know that it's causing harm. And this isn't just some software bug you can patch. It's a fundamental gap in its senses.
To really understand this problem, we don't even have to look at science fiction. In fact, we can see the devastating effects of this kind of sensory blindness right here in humans. There's a rare medical condition that is a perfect mirror for a robot's numbness.
It's called congenital insensitivity to pain, or CIP. Now, at first, that sounds like a superpower, doesn't it? Being unable to feel physical pain. But the reality for people living with CIP is anything but heroic. It is a constant, lifelong battle against a world of dangers that can't even feel.
A life without pain is filled with things like severe burns because a hand was left on a hot stove, or broken bones that go untreated because they were never felt in the first place. This isn't a gift. It is a critical, life-threatening vulnerability. And it's the exact same vulnerability we are currently building into our most advanced robots.
Now, we need to be really clear about something. This is not about creating conscious, suffering machines like you see in the movies. The goal here is purely functional. It's about safety.
There's a vital difference here. In us, pain is that subjective, emotional experience of suffering. But nociception, on the other hand, is just the raw data. It's an automatic, precognitive damage signal firing through the nervous system. It's the alarm, not the feeling of the fire. And that brings us to the engineering solution, something called high-fidelity nociception, or HFN. Just think of it as an advanced electronic nervous system that covers the robot's entire body. And it's designed for one job and one job only: to detect, locate, and measure any force that could cause damage.
So this system isn't just another safety feature you tack on. It's basically a mandate for survival. It serves a crucial two-part mission: protecting us from the robot and protecting the robot from itself.
The key safety mechanism that HFN makes possible is the nociceptive withdrawal reflex. You already know what this is. It's what happens when you accidentally touch a hot pan. You don't decide to pull your hand away. A reflex in your spinal cord does it for you before your brain even fully processes the pain. Robots need that exact same instantaneous, life-saving reflex.
So, how fast is instantaneous? Well, research shows that to prevent a serious injury from happening during an unexpected collision, the robot's entire reaction, from detection to getting out of the way, has to happen in under 120 milliseconds. That is literally faster than the blink of an eye. And the payoff for being that fast is huge. When that ultra-fast, bio-inspired reflex kicks in, it can reduce the peak force of a collision by about 60%. That could easily be the difference between a minor bump and a major injury. But it's also about protecting the robot itself. I mean, a humanoid robot is a massive financial investment. HFN basically acts as an internal diagnostic system, signaling if a joint is overstressed or if its skin gets punctured. This allows for predictive maintenance long before a catastrophic and expensive failure happens. You can see it laid out here pretty clearly. Without HFN, robots risk catastrophic failure from damage they don't even know they have. With it, they become so much more resilient and capable of self-diagnosis, which makes them far more reliable and long-lasting out in the real world.
So the benefits are pretty obvious. The question is, how do we get from here to there? What's the actual path to building these safe, aware machines?
Well, a huge part of the problem is that our regulations are just stuck in the past.
The safety standards we use today were designed for slow, predictable industrial robots that are locked away in cages. They are completely inadequate for the fast, agile humanoids that are going to be navigating the chaos of our homes.
The path forward is a pretty clear three-step plan. First, we have to modernize regulations to demand this kind of dynamic bio-inspired sensing. Second, we need to commit to new kinds of hardware, like brain-inspired neuromorphic chips that can actually process these signals fast enough for that sub-120 millisecond reflex. And third, we have to advance the AI so that robots can learn and adapt their own sensory body maps. Look, before these machines become common in our homes, we owe it to ourselves and future generations to make this a fundamental requirement. It has to be non-negotiable.
This leaves us with a fascinating final question. When we build a robot with a functional, reflexive understanding of harm, is it just a safer tool, or could it be something more? Researchers like Minoru Asada have actually theorized that an artificial pain system could be a prerequisite for developing empathy and maybe even a sense of morality in robots. It's a compelling thought. By teaching a machine to avoid harming itself and others, could we be giving it the very first lesson in how to care?